And welcome back to week 3 of the DFL. We're going to call this segment the Commissioner's Corner. And we'll go over the previous week and we'll look what's ahead to come here in the DFL. So just a quick standings check. We have the Cowboys, who looked unbelievable last week. Ellie Siegel under center. We saw what he could do. They are 2-0. We have two more 2-0 teams, 3 teams at 2-0. We have the Niners. Also, Mo Doick played his season debut, and he was also leading the charge and showing why he is a champion and is looking to become a 3-time champion in this league. And then Michael Panitz's Eagles, who definitely had some injury scares, or they were playing shorthanded, and Jimmy Cohen, slinging that rock across the field like he did in week 1, improved to 2-0. Then we have the Ravens, who definitely had a letdown last week, losing to the Cowboys. They are records even at 1. And the Texans, who had a major bounce back in week 2, with Ellie Bernhack under center, winning player of the week, setting the DFL single season record for a game, which is, if you think about it, that's pretty wild. Rookie quarterback, obviously highly touted, disappointing week 1, and then week 2 just showed everybody what he can do and made Yoni Panija look like the right pick was made in that spot. And then we have the 3 teams at 0-2, which is really interesting the way the playoff format is, 2 teams not making it. We have the Colts, the Steelers, and the Dolphins all at 0-2. If I had to rank them in order, I think the team with the least to worry about are the Dolphins. I think they do have a pretty nice roster. They were playing without Buka last week, again this week, so that might be something to look forward to in this matchup. And the Steelers, who are trying to get their act together, just can't get on the same page. And the Colts, who are just quite honest, decimated with injuries. And that's the story of their team. Week 1, they were missing their top 2 draft selections. And then last week, Ralph got hurt mid-game, probably going to be out for an extended period. And they're also down Svi Lieber, who has a nasty gash on his leg. And hopefully he's just out for another week. But that's the standings. Now let's look at the league leaderboard. With last week's performance, Ellie Bernhack obviously catapulted himself onto the top of the leaderboard in regards to quarterback play. 73% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns thrown. Siegel last week with 3 rushing touchdowns. He leads the league in that department. And then receptions, we have Simcha Gold, Isaac Gindi, Eddie Casson, all with over double digits in 14. And then last week, reception touchdowns, Jojo Matu with another 3 touchdown, or his first 3 touchdown performance, adds on to his total. He has 6. Mr. Interception himself, Ellie Roden, is showing that he's definitely a threat from the cornerback spot with 2 picks. And then Jake Luck making his bid for the Sack King with 5. QB rankings, we have Zach Casson with a nice ratio of 8-1 from touchdowns to interceptions thrown. Bernhack 10-2. Mo Doick 4-0. Ike Mavora 7-2. Siegel 3-0. Zachy Citron 5-2. Jimmy Cohen leads the league in interceptions with 4, but he has 8 touchdowns thrown. And then Elliott Saka 3-3. They're looking for an improvement there. And then, like we said, the passing touchdowns, Bernhack leads the league with 10. And then Siegel is last in that department with only 1 game played with 3 thrown. And then the least interceptions thrown, Mo D and Siegel with only a game played with 0. And then leading the league in that department, as we said prior, is Jimmy Cohen. So there's your league leaders. And now I want to look ahead to the matchups. We have pretty interesting matchups. Baltimore, coming off that loss, Zach Casson is down his first rounder, Rocky Jurist. This week, he's going to get his brother, Joey Beebe, to play. So let's see how that shakes out. But they're looking to get back on track. They should have a full complement of players aside that I believe Freddie Bijou's back. Eddie Casson recovering from that shoulder scare, but played all world in that matchup. Then there's Shua King, Yair Danziger made an impact last week, and Joe Moyal is proving to be that security blanket for Zach Casson week in, week out. And then Jack Massery's just that pesky receiver that you just can't not pay attention to. It just finds his way open, and he's usually open. So, and Zach usually has been hitting him. And then on the other end, that juggernaut that we saw last week, Ellie Bernhack, leading the helm at quarterback for the Houston Texans. Yoni Panagel had a coming out party last week. Simcha Gold, Mark Melbasati, Ruven Juris, that clutch reception over the middle when you need it. Maisha Deitch, Elliot Shemesh, and Jacob Seda. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. The question is, will Zach, come off the mat and lead his team to a big victory, or will the Houston Texans just build on last week's big performance and just win 2 in a row and then put the Ravens in a bad spot? So really going to be a really good matchup. If I had to make a selection, this is one of those matchups that I really firmly believe can go either way. But if I had to make a pick for this week's W, I'm actually going to the Ravens. I think they have a lot more to lose in this matchup, and they're going to play with that fire and emotion. And Zach, winning quarterback, again, he's going up against Bernhat. I could be dead wrong. Houston can probably put up another 30, 40 points on the board, and that could be the end of that. But if I had to make a decision on that, I think I'm going to go with the Ravens. Next matchup, we have the Colts going up against the Dolphins. We have 2 0-2 teams. So the good news from here is we're going to get one team that finally gets on the win column, and one team's going to fall to 0-3. That's the bad news. So the injuries with the Colts, just feel like the vibe of that team right now is they're searching. They're really searching. Mavora playing well at quarterback. Svi Lieber is probably out. Fuchs, he looked good last week in his debut. But now that injury to Ralph Hannon, they're going to probably ask for an IR spot for him based on today's announcement. So let's see what happens there. Ralph Casson, nice receiver. I think they're looking for a bit more from him. Joslich showed that he's a beast. So they're probably going to have to get him more involved in the offense. Reminds me of like 2010 version of Gronk. Then we have Harry Ashkenazi and Kaz. Harry, nice outside receiver. I know that he's working on his route running, and they're going to improve. But the question is who they're going to get for Ralph. And then for the Dolphins, Zachy Citrin. Buka, I believe, is still out this week, so that's going to be something to look at. Joe Torquia showing he is a dynamic receiver, even though he is small in stature. He puts up big numbers. And then Fonz is going to be not on a 3 hours of sleep, 6-hour drive. Sammy Saruya, who is a stud at receiver already, going to looking to improve. Victor Abadi, Charlie Baton, and Gruskin. So this matchup, I do believe that I'll give the Dolphins the edge. So I think they take this game and they make the Colts fall to 0-3, and the Finns get on the board. Let's move on to the next matchup. We have the Cowboys coming off their big performance. They're 2-0. To me, that's going to be a blowout win for the Cowboys, going up against the Steelers. Ellie Siegel showing he's dynamic as ever. Michelin Novoseller showing he's good, all reliable. Jojo Matute, dynamic. He became the featured guy in that offense. And then just alongside Matute, you have Morty Sultan, who's that pest on offense. Then obviously Alan Mustaki, who does his thing on the line, looking as gorgeous as ever. Ellie Roden, Jackie Sutton, and Yossi Abramson, who is really also another threat at receivers. This team's a really good squad. And then the Steelers, you have Elliott Saka, who I have yet to really watch them. I will record their game this week because I have not recorded them, so I can't really give that much of an opinion on. But Sammy Schwecky's all-world at receiver. Isaac Gindy showing he's a dual threat. Actually played at quarterback this week, and I think it was 5 for 5, completing passes with a touchdown. Charles Saka, who obviously is that steady, reliable guy over the middle. Victor Cohen, Alan Shiram, David Amram, Nathan Batesh. Again, I have not had a chance to watch them, so it's tough for me to give my opinion. However, just based on seeing the Cowboys for 2 weeks, I am going Cowboys victory and moving these Steelers to 0-3 and 3-0 for the Cowboys. And then the final matchup of the week, we're going to be having the Shimmy Cohen, Michael Panitz-led Eagles going up against the Niners. It's going to be a great matchup as well. Shimmy showing that it could be a mixed bag, but more good than bad. Panitz and Dubin, that dynamic receiver stack that they have. Jake Luck, who's just ferocious in anything that he does on the field. Shmoey Lewis will be back. Noam Katzel, Erwin Sutton, Charlie Mizrahi, and going up against this team, which is an under-the-radar great squad. I forgot who said it during the week, but they're just low-key and great. You have Mo D at quarterback, just a winner. Definitely good arm at quarterback, better than I anticipated. Momo Levy, who is showing to be, the front runner for Rookie of the Year right now. Shua Danny, who is, showing that he is the proper spot where he was drafted. He belongs here. Impact player, defense on offense. Sure, you must call blitz though on the line. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Joey Alalo made his debut last week, looked good. CZS, Joe Daba, Ben Hamu, looks like a really good player. Good matchup. I actually would give the edge to San Francisco on this matchup. I know that's not going to be a popular pick in the locker room in the clubhouse for the Eagles, but I'm going San Fran on this one, just like the way their squad is compiled and put together. So just a few housekeeping notes, news notes, and nuggets before I sign out over here in the Commissioner's Corner. Today, I announced that there will be an IR spot, meaning a team could designate a player for IR, and you're allowed, that player must miss 2 weeks. I will be in constant contact with that player. If there's any shenanigans and anything is caught, it's going to be on a case-to-case basis, but that team can be up for playoff elimination. If the player is not IR worthy and he's placed on IR and there was anything shady, that captain is suspended from captaincy for 3 years. The player in said question will be not eligible for the draft the next year, and that player will be suspended for the year, and the team cannot get us up for him. So obviously this is for your benefit, but don't play around with it. It's only if you really need it. That's that. I'm looking forward to some more media coverage a little later today from our media that we put together. And also I'm excited to announce that the show between Yoni Panagel and Alan Mustaki and Victor, and they're going to have a guest on each week. That's back on the table. I'm looking forward to watching that. Can't wait for week 3. We may have some poor weather to deal with, but that's football. It is what it is. Can't wait to see you all on the field. And that's all she wrote. Have a good one.